I'm Arnie Gunderson from Fairwinds Associates. It's Thursday, March 31st, and you'll probably notice that this is the second update of a day. Normally I update you every other day. However, some disturbing video has shown up on Ustream that I wanted to talk to you about. First off, a little bit about my background. I used to be an executive in the nuclear industry, and one of the divisions I ran built nuclear fuel racks for boiling water reactors. So nuclear fuel racks are something that I know a little bit about. Nuclear fuel racks look like this. This is square cans at the bottom of essentially a swimming pool, and each can is designed to handle one nuclear fuel bundle, and that's the glowing thing you see sliding into the can. Now, the wrapper around those cans, it has boron in it, and that's designed to prevent a nuclear chain reaction from occurring in the pool. You don't want a chain reaction to occur in the pool. That should occur in the reactor. Now, what happened at Fukushima was when the whole site lost power, at Fukushima 4, there was no reactor operating. All the fuel had been removed and was in the fuel pool. Now, normally the pools are cooled. However, they lost power, so there was no longer any cooling. It appears that the pools boiled dry. The roof blew off the building. That indicates that hydrogen was built up from something called a Zircaloy water reaction that had to occur at temperatures over 2200 degrees. Now, after that, the Fukushima staff has been attempting to pour water into that reactor. And you can see in this picture that up the side of the building is a hydraulic device. It's actually designed for pumping concrete, that's pumping water up and over the roof and pouring water into the nuclear fuel pool. Well, this picture is undated, but when it was taken, it clearly shows that there's no water in the pool. Now, if you look, there's a green, long green device, and that's the refueling bridge. Normally that glides along on rails above the pool, and the pool is that crystal clear water that you normally are used to seeing. Well, after the explosion, it has collapsed and is lying in the pool. Now, between seconds 33 and 37 on this video, you can see little boxes. And the little boxes are just to the left of that green bridge. The boxes are in air. Those boxes are the top of nuclear fuel racks. They're supposed to be under 30 feet of water. They're not. Now, what that means to me is a couple things. First off, the top of the nuclear fuel is exposed. Perhaps all the nuclear fuel is exposed, but certainly the top is. You can see steam coming up, but not from the top of the fuel. Down further in the cavity, there's steam coming up. So the water that they're spraying in is hitting the nuclear fuel and creating steam, but it's not filling that swimming pool. Now, the water has two purposes, cooling, but also shielding. So that means that the nuclear fuel is unshielded. That emits gamma rays, and the gamma rays go up into the sky, bounce off of air molecules through something called sky shine, and rain back down on the site as a background radiation that's much higher than normal. That makes work on site really difficult, and it makes work on that refueling pool almost lethal. Now, the other thing it means to me is that the nuclear fuel itself is extraordinarily hot, and the plutonium inside can become volatile. Now, I spoke yesterday in the earlier update about cerium being discovered off-site and plutonium being discovered, and the fact that the nuclear fuel pool does not have water in it, to me, indicates that it might be a clean path for those heavy elements to be escaping from the building and being discovered off-site. And I would recommend, based on this, that the evacuation zones should be pushed back further because of these heavy elements being released, as well as the cesium that was also in those racks. It does have some serious consequences. As this situation develops and perhaps more clear pictures are available, I'll update you again. Thanks again.
Hi guys, how are we doing? This is a quick update on the information that I'm gathering on the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant situation. I'm going to try and make it as clear and coherent as I possibly can, because I've had some people saying that I make incoherent videos and that I don't have the intelligence to evaluate and report on a subject of this depth and nature. So I'm just going to try and make it as clear as I possibly can. If this information helps anybody to understand this a little bit better, then that's the purpose of this information. That's the reason why I've been posting these videos and stuff like that. I'm not a professional journalist, I'm not a professional researcher, and I'm certainly not a TV presenter. So you'll have to forgive me if I don't come across as a professional commentator, because that isn't who I am. I'm just a normal guy like yourselves. So to begin with, at the moment we have number 2 reactor core pressure vessel continuously leaking. The pressure vessel is the reactor core itself, and that's continuously leaking. On top of this, there is a breach in the suppression chamber, and its spent nuclear fuel pond is boiling. That's why you're seeing all of the steam coming out of reactor number 2. As well as this, the turbine building for reactor number 2 is emitting radiation 100,000 times more radioactive than would be found in the water of an operating nuclear reactor. On top of this, we have some 6,000 tons of water housed in an underground concrete trench tunnel, which is overflown. However, the news is reporting that it's just puddles again. So the last time they reported puddles, those puddles turned out to be 1.5 meters deep, and the commentator specifically said that this tunnel was filled with over 6,000 tons of highly toxic radioactive water, along with reactors 2 and reactors 3. And if you look in my channel, you'll find information on the trenches and the size of the water that are in the trenches. And this isn't coming from me, this is coming from a reporter who I respect from Japanese TV, Noriko Mizuno, who I haven't seen on Japanese TV since he made these reports. So I'll leave that up to your own conclusion. So the tunnel outside of the number 2 reactor has a crack in it which is 20 centimeters wide, and the length of which we don't know. Furthermore, the Japanese government and TEPCO have admitted the possibility of further hydrogen explosions. So this is just some of the problems and difficulties of one reactor. Now looking at the radiation levels. The more water you pump in, the more radioactive substances are going to leak out. You could stop the water pump in operation, but it probably would be inevitable that the spent fuel pools would heat up again and possibly catch fire, as they've already done several times in reactors 3 and 4. That's what the black smoke was. That's what the brown gunk was that was coming out of the building. That's why reactor 4 building exploded, because there was a fire in the spent fuel pool, because it couldn't have any coolant. So looking at it realistically, if they stopped the water operation spraying at all 4 reactors and the spent fuel pools, and this resulted in both the temperatures and radiation levels in the core of all 4 reactors and spent fuel pools decreasing, this would give the engineers a window of opportunity to inspect the piping of the internal cooling system within all 4 reactors.